All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to 2024's first session of QB Talks. I am Cheska Cordero from Insightful Accountant and your host for today. Now, before we actually start, this is going to be kind of funny because Gary, I know that you usually do these, and it's kind of going to be funny to be on the other end. I'd like to go ahead and ask our question of the day, just as
Turning the
everyone's kind
tables
of,
on me.
yep, kind of coming in and settling down in front of their computers, their phones, or tablets, what have you. Um, I kind of wanted to get this question out. I really don't have anything in mind yet for New Year's resolution, so I just wanted to ask you guys and kind of get ideas of what to put on my list for things to change this year.
Ooh.
Yeah, do you guys have any New Year's resolutions?
I don't really have resolutions. I have goals that I've set, but and unfortunately they're just like everybody else's. Exercise more, drink less, and eat better. But there's some other personal ones I won't share here. But those are really my primary, and some spiritual goals. But so those are mine. Wish they were a little more unique, but they're not. How about it, Murph?
Well, this is my year to pre-plan my final demise. So I intend to go to the funeral home and take care of all those prearrangements. I've been putting it off, but yeah, I decided that for my New Year's resolution, I'm going to really get that done.
Okay.
Well, all right. On that one, Murph, I think I'm going to have to say that's the first time I've ever heard that as a New Year's resolution.
Yeah,
Um,
same
well,
for me too.
good luck with that.
And
I hope you don't follow through on the from
It,
start to finish
mhm,
on that.
yeah, it's not that I'm
I
planning
Just
agree.
to accomplish that over the year, other than just the pre-planning part. But
just
Okay.
get it pre-planned. All right. Well, I feel a little bit better. So somebody wants to go fishing at least. I think it was once a month. I'm
That
with
looks
you.
so fun.
Yes, I'm with you. I'd love to go once a week. A little cold right now, but so.
Not
All right,
yet, maybe.
but you don't have any. So now, Cheska, you might start pre-planning
Pre-planning?
your final demise. Start now.
Think about that.
Start saving for it, right? Just put a penny here and there.
Probably. Like we could, because I already have insurance, but okay. Since we have that down, I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to follow through with Murph's. Good
somebody's
afternoon again. Oh, yeah.
somebody's going to become a tree. They say I'm going to become a tree. I don't know what that means, but
Oh no, that's yeah, it was a response to your pre-planning. Because I do know I think you can turn into a tree after you can plan for that.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get back into it. Good afternoon again, everyone, and welcome to 2024's first session of QB Talks. Again, I am Cheska Cordero from Insightful Accountant and your host for today. In this QB Talks, we'll actually be having our New Year ProAdvisor meetup with Murph and Gary. Now, I'll hand this off to them in just a little bit after I cover a few of the housekeeping items. Now, though this webinar is quite a long one, we have quite a bit set up for you guys. There is no CPE for this, as this is a special edition of QB Talks, but do not worry, the future sessions of QB Talks will have CPE. Now, if you have any questions, you guys know the drill, put them in the Q&A panel, and I want you guys to be specific. Don't just say, what did you mean? You gotta ask, hey Murph, what do you mean by you want to pre-plan your demise? Mainly because we might not get to your question right after we put it into the Q&A panel. If you want to go ahead and ask a live question, you can go ahead and raise your hand, wait for Gary or Murph to call you, and join in on the conversation. Also, do not forget that we have 2 other webinars in store for you this month. Whether you're interested in marketing for your small firm or utilizing your Google business profile, Insightful Accountant has got something for you. You can go check all our webinars that are available to you on the educational webinars page on our site. I'm sorry, I cannot read today. And I will be sending out the link to that throughout the webinar in case you might have missed it the first time I put it in there. And lastly, we'd also like to announce that Alicia Pollock will be spearheading this year's QB Talks. Now, we can't wait to hear from you, Alicia.
Hi, everybody. So my name's Alicia Katz-Pollock, and I am delighted to be here. I have been invited to be the host of QB Talks for 2024, and I couldn't be more thrilled. I mean, this program is one of the most longest running and best regarded um, QuickBooks education opportunities out there, and the fact that I've been invited to spearhead or to host for this year, I'm just really excited about it.
Well, thanks so much, Alicia. We're also excited to have you on board, honestly. It's really fun. Okay, well then, Murph and Gary, that's actually it for me. Welcome and thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. And I want to welcome everybody. I think we've got 97 people here, or a few more clicking in and out. So I want to say that we are happy to host this ProAdvisor meetup. This is the first time that we've ever had one of these that I can recall. Of course, my memory isn't what it used to be, so we could have maybe had one yesterday that I wouldn't remember. But anyway, our purpose is to really hear from you, and we want to have you comment. We want to have you ask questions, and we want to have you think about asking some of those questions live. And so, in order to do that, we're going to ask you to use the chat window to make comments. They won't necessarily go out to everybody, but they are your comments about specific things, so that you feel if you need to make a comment that you don't necessarily want to share, that's the place to do it, in the chat window. If you have a question that you'd like to have answered, and some of those will be answered in writing, and some of those will be answered orally by me, that's fine. And if you want to ask a question live, we want you to raise your hand, use the raise hand feature, and Cheska will recognize you and then make you a panelist, so you can turn your microphone on and actually ask a question that then I will respond to. Now, the way this is going to work is we're going to go through a series of topics covering the reimagined ProAdvisor program and aspects of that. We're going to talk about Intuit's announcement that they made in early November about what's going to happen with QuickBooks Pro, Premier, and the payroll program that almost everybody uses for desktop at the end of July of 2024. And then lastly, I'm going to talk for roughly the last 15 minutes or so, and you'll have the opportunity to ask questions there about the ProAdvisor Awards. But the majority of this time will be spent on these two separate Intuit issues. And again, we want to garner as much input from you as possible. We want to know what you're really thinking and feeling about those two areas. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to zip through a few of these. Now, I think everybody knows me, and I'm not going to laud myself with a lot of accolades here, but I've been doing this for more than 30 years. I've used QuickBooks Desktop since the day it came out as a DOS product. I've written about 6,000 plus articles, maybe a few more. I'm not sure. I even counted last year's. But you know, I've been around a long time, seen a lot that's gone on. And so Gary and I talked about this, and I thought we need to have the opportunity to hear from our readers, to hear from the people who participate in QB Talks. And so that's what today is all about. And as I said, we're going to go through the reimagined ProAdvisor program. We're going to talk about Intuit's announcement, and then I'm going to talk about the ProAdvisor Awards for 2024 and also 2025. So as I said, we want to hear from you. Type in your questions in the Q&A, type in your comments in the chat, and then raise your hand if you want to ask a question online. And you're going to have to give me a moment, because when I went live, my panel moved. And so, okay. So, the first thing I want to talk about is the reimagined ProAdvisor program, and as Intuit put it in their release, that they were refreshing the point and tier system to give it a renewed value that aligns better with practice focus areas and goals. And so the silver went up from 0 to $4.99, and they raised the threshold for gold from 500, and gold runs all the way through $23.99. They raised the platinum to 2,400 points all the way through $6,999, and they raised the requirement for elite status to 7,000 points. And then they offered some new point activities, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But what we want to know is what you think about the change in the tier point requirements. And so if you have a question specifically related to that, go ahead and post that in Q&A. And if you'd like to ask your question live, then go ahead and raise your hand so that you can be recognized. We'll turn your microphone on, and you can make a comment about it. Now, you know, some people are commenting, and the comments don't necessarily go out to everyone, but I'll say that I see here, you know, somebody said they think it stinks. And so another person mentioned that they had worked hard to be on elite and are now being demoted to platinum, and they considered it quite insulting. We've got other people who think that the new structure is good, but they wish that instead of reducing people's status, that they had added additional tiers. And someone said, well, as a 25-year ProAdvisor, losing elite status is an insult. So, you know, I'm just going to comment about the fact that as a part of this, they really indicated that they were looking towards bigger firms, and that people could stay in their status by being members of bigger firms where everybody was earning points and they obtained the same status level as a result of the firm as a whole. And someone said that they were concerned about losing their status, but actually they now have more points with the new structure. And that might very well be true too, because they raised point values for a few things, and they added several point values that they didn't have before. For example, if you have QuickBooks bill pay, you can earn 25, 50, or 75 points depending on the level of bill pay that each of your clients have. And then the new ledger system if you add Ledger to your subscription in order to handle one of your clients, and remember, that's the thing about Ledger is Ledger can only be added by a QBO accountant, and it can't be acquired by an actual client, but you acquire Ledger for each of your clients that you want to bring in and accomplish the tasks that Ledger will perform, which is pretty much like either prepare a quarterly or prepare an annual compilation of their financials. And so you can earn 25 points for them. And they even have a new process to bulk import people into Ledger that you previously had to put into like Plus if you want to get them out of that Plus subscription into the Ledger program. Of course, that's going to change points too. And so let's see, I don't see anybody who's raised their hand wants to go live on mic. Here's someone that says, for people supporting them with difficult conversions or only consulting, not doing bookkeeping, it stinks. Years of expertise in both programs obviously do not mean anything, but should because their support is worthless. And here's somebody with a frustration facey and one individual said, so based on your comment, Murph, solopreneurs are being penalized for not aligning with a large firm. And I don't mean it to sound that way. I'm just saying that it's obviously easier if you're a team member. And we'll talk about this in a moment, but you could be a team member in a firm and that firm's already earned elite status, and you're immediately at elite status the moment you join if you're added to their team. It says, it would be nice to get points for how long you've been a ProAdvisor. And I really agree with that. When they used to show your badges years ago, they showed how long you'd held status as a particular level of ProAdvisor. And that went bye-bye. It didn't take long for it to go bye-bye. So let me move on to this second slide that I've got here. So as I mentioned a moment ago, and one of the statements that Intuit made in their literature regarding the new reimagined program is that the fastest way to move from silver to gold is to have at least one team member pass the online certifications, QuickBooks Online, Advanced QuickBooks Online, and QuickBooks Online Payroll. And by passing these exams, you'll earn 500 points and advance to the gold tier. Well, it makes it sound like, again, that if one team member obtains all the certifications, then every team member realizes the benefits of being gold tier, for example. And the same thing applies throughout, is that it's a combination or accumulation of team member points that really determine your status if you're a member of that team. There's no way around that. Here's someone who says, so for 26 years, I've been solo, and I agree with the other comments. My small business owners don't purchase bill pay or payments, so I'm being penalized for not selling Intuit products. And, you know, I think that we all, of us who've been on the ProAdvisor program, there are people that regularly participate in QB Talks and who are our readers who have been ProAdvisors since day one. They, you know, always felt like ProAdvisor was based on what you accomplished in and of yourself. That's the same philosophy that we use in regards to the ProAdvisor Awards, is that it is a measurement of you as an individual ProAdvisor, not a member of your team, not a member of your firm. You know, Intuit gave out the Firm of the Future awards that were based on firm, not individual. And yet we've always measured ProAdvisors based on individual earning status. And so I think that we've got a couple of people who want to open that up for a vocal comment. And so Jessica, go ahead and announce one of these individuals and then they can ask their question.
Okay, so Linda, I'll have you I'll put you on allowed to talk for a bit so you can get that question out there.
Here we go. Unmute. Now you can hear me?
Yes, go ahead and
Okay.
go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Linda, and I put the fake QBQ as a middle name, Russell. When I went on to the social media in 2008, I started going to the conferences around 2010. I am a solopreneur, but I have decided over time to stay with desktop. I'm as long as we have desktop, I'm going to, my clients have inventory, that's my niche. And so and if you don't have QuickBooks Online certification, I had it for about a year one time, and then I just gave it up. What I would do is, whether somebody is certified or not, I guess I never got any clients from that, from the online. It was mainly through personal relationships and Chamber of Commerce's and word of mouth through businesses in the area and that. And I ended up becoming quite good at troubleshooting in that, which is more consulting and setting up data files. But again, it was desktop. And so when I will look, and the world is always changing around us, and we have to understand Intuit QuickBooks is a large corporation on the stock market. And they need to keep value for the people who provide the capital that runs the business. And they can use us, and for whatever reason, what I will do is when I look at people, I don't look at their point value personally, because I know there are a lot of people that are very highly qualified that are solopreneurs that now all of a sudden they're not a lead anymore. So I think that if we start looking at it like that, okay, so the people with large firms are going to look better on paper with these designations, but that doesn't mean that your expertise is any less. It's as much as it's ever been. And most of the people around you in the profession will recognize that, and they'll still refer you. So I get it. You know, it's not fun, but COVID wasn't fun either, and we didn't expect that. So it's like, okay, what can we make the best out of? Let's make the best out of this. And at least we still have a software that is affordable and our clients can use, and they haven't gotten rid of desktop yet. And I don't think they'll ever get rid of enterprise. So thank you.
Thank you. Jessica, go ahead and open the mic to the next individual.
Okay, so next we do have Kimberly. Kimberly, I'll put you on.
Hi there.
Hey, I was talking to myself. How are you?
All right. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thanks to Alicia, I always try to find lemonade out of the lemon. But this one is very bruising because I, like you, Murph, have been with Alignable in bed with them. I'm sorry, not Alignable, excuse me, Intuit, in bed with them since conception, DOS based, everything. And I have worked very hard to earn the status of elite. I'm also a paid ProAdvisor, so I'm not just getting the online version, but I am in the PAPS program for 2 users, not just one. I've been certified since the certification programs came out. And to be demoted to me was like literally being demoted in a big business. And I am a smaller practice, but I have to contradict you on a statement, and I hate to contradict you because I find such value in you. I've been added to a large practice, and it only gave me an additional 400 points on my ProAdvisor status. It did not bring me up to elite, and they are very much elite. So that thing is not 100% true, even though they did say that. That is not fact. The other thing is, yes, Intuit stock has gone up, but why has it gone up? It's gone up because of us ProAdvisors. If we weren't out there pushing it, well, not really pushing, but featuring and selling their products, their stock wouldn't be where it's at. So what are they trying to do? Say they don't need us anymore? That they're, you know, they've achieved everything? Because one of the main things is if you go out to the page where you buy the product, it actually allows you to buy QB Live right on the bottom for an additional price. Essentials is 40, plus is 50, and advanced is 99. So what's that saying? Where does that put us? I'm very confused.
Well, QB Live is supposed to be an alternative for smaller clients who come on board in QuickBooks, and basically self-onboard themselves, and then find that they've got a problem, and Intuit said this is a quick way for them to get the support they need, and then ultimately they'll get referred to a ProAdvisor. I don't know. I've never had a ProAdvisor tell me that they've ever had a referral from QuickBooks Live. Maybe there are some, and if you're one of those people, go ahead and post a question or a comment that you've gotten a referral from QuickBooks Live. The same thing I think is probably true of the new Tax Live, TurboTax Live program. But we won't know until after that goes through this year, because this is the first year that really it's being promoted as an alternative to other paid tax preparation. But I want to thank you for your comment. And if I misstated and said that you could get all the way to elite, obviously it's going to take the work of several people. But my point is that they specifically mentioned that individuals can get to gold by having just one person in the firm do all 3 certifications, and then they'd all be at gold. And of course, gold is where the new requirement is to be listed in the ProAdvisor listing. If you're not gold, your ProAdvisor profile won't be listed. Jessica, do we have another person?
No, we don't, but we do have a few questions in the Q&A panel.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So some people said, well, they should be grandfathering people in, and they wanted to talk about some of the benefits, and we'll get to that. And then Alicia is typing an answer to a question about the federal Form 1099 alignment issue. So, one person says one reason they did this is because there were literally thousands of people with ProAdvisor accounts who passed the basic cert who were listed at findaproadvisor.com, but they were utter beginners. And by raising the gold standard, they're thinning the number of people to people who really have experience. The good news is that they made the elite support phone number available to everyone in gold so that they would have those benefits. And I agree with that. And I think we're going to get there in a minute. So, and so here's the tiers and benefits. I want to note that you can earn 25 points for each of these subscription types, and you can earn 50 for these subscription types, and you can earn 75 for these subscription types. I'll note that there is only one way, and it's limited to once per year. And that's for the acquisition of ProAdvisor Premier Enterprise. So that corresponds to the 2 levels of the ProAdvisor support, but I'm sorry, I'm having a little desktop issue here. Hopefully everybody is still connected. Cheska, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay.
Murph.
All right. And you can still see my screen.
Yes.
And so, as I said, it corresponds to the 2 bundles, but you earn the same number of points regardless of which ProAdvisor bundle you have, and whether you're just supporting clients that are Pro or Premier, or whether you're supporting clients that are Enterprise. And then also under 100 are the 2 major certifications of QuickBooks Online and Desktop Enterprise. You no longer earn points for desktop, QuickBooks Desktop certification, only QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise certification. And of course, to earn Enterprise and be certified, you have to have as a prerequisite QuickBooks Desktop. So you really have to have earned 2 certifications in order to gain this 100 points, as opposed to the QuickBooks Online core basic certification. And then 200 points are now issued for the advanced certification of QBO, and they elevated the number of points for QuickBooks Payroll certification. And so, it really is very focused on number of subscriptions. As someone mentioned, it's like you're earning points for selling, or at least for working with clients that have those subscriptions. And they also then are issuing certification based points. And let's see if we've got another. We have somebody who said, I really hear all concerns, and I'm a sole proprietor and have decided to certify myself for my own integrity and value. I do not believe that certification necessarily is appealing to potential clients. And, I think some people view that certification is a recognition of how much you know about particular products. Obviously, we know that back when we had QuickBooks Desktop Advanced certification, there were hundreds of people who attempted to take that exam and never did get certified because of the difficulties and the level of knowledge that it required. So I think that certifications are important, but they're only important if people know what they are. And if you are not gold tier, you're not going to be listed, which means people out looking for a ProAdvisor, and a lot of people do use the Find a ProAdvisor either directly out of the product or just by going to the web search. They find ProAdvisors, and I think they do rely a lot on those badges to indicate who's most qualified. And of course, that also works in the rankings. And so I'm just going to ask, do you think there's anything that should be changed? Now, remember, they told us that this is reimagined ProAdvisor Program Phase 1 and that they're going to be making changes and additions. And so do you think there are things that need to be changed or added to this list of how the points are awarded? And somebody says here, I have companies with a need to issue fewer than 10 1099s and need the print alignment tool. Okay, that's back to that print alignment tool. Selling subscriptions doesn't make you an expert, and I'll agree with that because I've never sold any products directly. I've recommended products that work with Intuit or that were Intuit products, but I never sold products, so I don't anticipate earning any points for selling products. Somebody said, I noticed that the premium phone chat support is still available under gold tier. Yes. They told us that that would now be available to gold tier members. That was a new plus benefit. Quite frankly, a lot of people have had it under gold because they were, in effect, granted that as a part of the last set of changes. Here's someone saying it would be great if they gave more points for desktop accountants. I agree. I think there ought to be points. I think there ought to be a difference in points for the two different paid ProAdvisor bundles. I also think that QuickBooks Desktop certification is just as important, if not more so, than Enterprise. And the reason is that desktop certification is issued every year, and Enterprise certification is only reissued every 2 or 3 years. And so I think that it's just as important to recognize desktops, what I'll call desktop basic certification, than it is for QuickBooks Online Core certification. Someone said, for those of us who will never support online, it is particularly unfair. A lot of people are saying that their clients are not really going to agree to move to online, and we'll talk about that a little later. And somebody else is talking about the next issue that we're going to address, and that's the changes to desktop after 7/31. And it says, how about a differentiation between firms and individual pro-advisors? And again, if you go into the ProAdvisor actual webpage, you'll see that they are addressing how these same goals apply, or same points and tiers apply to the individual versus small firms versus larger firms. So as I mentioned, one of the changes is that only certified pro-advisors in the gold tier or above will be allowed to publish their profiles in the Find a Pro-Advisor directory. And we want to know what you think specifically about that. So again, give us your comments. And it says, Intuit keeps raising the price for all of us, but they don't see any improvement in the services being rendered. And then I would really like to see Intuit acknowledge our years of experience, years of certification as part of the tier process. And Cheska, do we have anybody else that this keeps wanting to move on me? Anybody else that wants to openly ask a question?
Yeah, I was actually just about to tell you. We
Okay.
have I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Is it Rachel? I'll put you on so I can allow you to talk.
All right. Welcome, Rachel.
Oh, I didn't know that I had asked to be talked. I was typing, but
Yeah,
Can
go
you hear-
ahead. Ask
Okay.
your question.
well,
Or-
I think about being listed. I agree with the person before who said that they get most of their clients from referral. We're not dependent at all from somebody looking up on a list that we're a pro advisor. We're turning away work. There is a great need for pro advisors or people who have experience because people are just totally clueless about their accounting. But we are not really, that's not a big part of our business. We're a investment firm with a tax side. And then we offer the bookkeeping as a kind of all-in-one thing for our business clients and Schedule C clients. So I think it's more from referrals. We're not concerned about having it in a directory. So to answer that question, I did ask a question before, though. I wondered about because it is geared toward the large teams now. We are having someone start next week that's from the prior public accounting firm that I used to work for. And when I came over here, I had to switch my pro-advisor into the new firm. So I'm wondering, when she does that, do we get points for her certifications? Or is it only?
I believe that's correct. At the moment that they get switched to your firm, whatever their actual individual status is, then becomes part of the firm total and then actually applies back to the individual. So the individual will be the recipient, the benefit recipient of what your firm has done, and you'll be the benefit recipient of what she has accomplished individually.
Terrific, because I
So-
know locally in our area, there is a lot of jumping ship between accounting firms. So I can see this being a problem with people who have QuickBooks certifications that they need to move it over with them. All right, thank you.
Thank you. So, one comment I want to make here is that somebody starting out, a lot of people started their entire pro-advisor profession on the basis of being listed in that directory. They'd they'd spend the time to get desktop certified or QBO certified so they specifically could be in the directory so they could get new clients. And my question is, if we're concerned about the number of subscriptions, you can't have a lot of people with a lot of subscriptions until people can find you as a pro advisor, who then you can add those people through your ProAdvisor account and then attach their subscriptions to your account. It seems almost backwards here in that if they're not listed, people can't find them. And if they can't find them, they're not going to get them attached to their ProAdvisor status. So I just kind of see that somewhat contradictory. And it certainly is different that now we're taking all these other factors in order to be listed other than just certification. Of course, as somebody said earlier, it was so easy to be certified as QBO basic that a lot of people were listed. And so maybe there should be some combination. Definitely that's what's happening now. I suspect that some of the additional training that Intuit is going to offer, they have this new financial or what I will call banking add-on and this reporting add-on in training. And those, I think, ultimately will be point awarded. And so maybe there'll be more points for additional trainings available. And I'm going to go ahead and skip this because I think we've talked about it long enough. And I just mentioned the fact that premium support is now accessible to the gold status. And previously that was platinum and elite. And if you would like to comment about what you would like to see as part of product support, specifically premium support, go ahead and either ask a question or post a comment. Somebody said that their experience was that people calling from the ProAdvisor listing are price shopping. I can't say that I've ever necessarily experienced that. I still get calls from the ProAdvisor listing, even though the very first words in my listing are, I'm retired. I say, why bother anymore? I was loyal into it and got certified and took every certification for years and was listed. And the business may be very complicated, but they want someone with little or no experience when they're using the list. So maybe that's true. And I'm sorry to say again, I just had I don't know what's going on, but I just lost my second monitor, so everything is on top of everything. Not really sure what happened because I got brand new monitors, so. Jessica, are you still there? Is everybody still connected to me?
Yes, we're all still here,
Oh,
Murph.
okay. All right. So I'm just going to have to look at these as we go through them. And what I'm going to ask you to do, Jessica, is go ahead if you would, and I'm going to relinquish my share. If you'd share the, go ahead and share the presentation, and I'll tell you when to advance because I've lost my second screen and I can't have all these open on the same screen. So can you do
Okay.
that?
Sure. Just give me a second for me to set it up.
Okay. So tell us what you think about the new benefits in the area of badges, special benefits and promotions, discounts to the firm. Were you happy with the changes where some of the benefit discounts increased? There really is no change for discounts to your clients. And then there's this area that they call resources for all. And so if you have any comments specific about that, let me look at these. All right. Somebody said loose cords. No, I don't think that's the problem. I think I've got a video card going bad. And this is more about the tax 1099. And I think Alicia's kind of handling that. And I'd like to see years added. I'm not impressed with the new benefits, etc. Jessica, are you ready to share the screen?
Yeah, I'm just putting it on presenter view right now.
And I'm going to go ahead and stop my share. Is that okay?
Yeah, I see we're still viewing your screen is what I see. Murph.
Okay. You shouldn't be viewing it any longer.
Yep. Let me just present it. Give me a second.
And so what I want to move on to is the QuickBooks Desktop product changes. And that's, I think, about 8 slides in, maybe a little more than that. Folks, I'm sorry for this technical glitch.
Okay, Murph,
Looks
so
like
we're
it's, yeah, I think it's slide 18.
18. Okay.
Yeah.
Oop, give me a second. Okay.
And so in late November, Intuit announced that after July 31 of 24, Intuit will no longer sell new subscriptions to QuickBooks Desktop Pro Plus, Premier Plus, Mac Plus, or QuickBooks Desktop Enhanced Payroll. They also said that existing subscribers could continue to renew their subscription after July 31 of 24. Let me clarify that. An existing subscriber is one who has a subscription that is active as of July 31 of 2024. So if you're active as of July 31, 2024, you'll be able to continue to renew your subscription after July 31, 2024. So if you've subscribed anytime prior to July 31, you'll be able to renew after July 31 on your renewal date, is what they're saying there. And then new QuickBooks Enterprise subscriptions will continue to be available for purchase after July 31 of 2024. And QuickBooks Accountant and ProAdvisor bundles will still be available for purchase after July 2024. So we want to know how you and your clients have reacted to the announcement regarding Pro Plus, Premier Plus, and so if you would tell us that. And suddenly I have, this is the weirdest thing. So someone asks, can you renew for an older version? And no, the answer is Intuit only supports the current version, so you won't be able to renew for an older version. For clients, can they renew and subscribe to older versions? No, they won't be able to renew and subscribe to older versions. And someone said, my clients are just not happy. And someone wrote in, very few of my clients are still on desktop. The ones that are do not use payroll features where they need to have updated tables, so they'll continue to use their old desktop versions. Some are even on 2012. Only one of my clients actually has QB installed locally. She's very upset that she can't get a perpetual license anymore. She doesn't use payroll, so annual updates are meaningless. This seems to me that Intuit is abandoning their small business market unless they want to get a inferior product. QuickBooks Desktop is still superior to QBO. And someone else said, with this and the increase in desktop prices, my desktop clients are switching to online. Since I don't have enterprise clients, is there any use in continuing to be a paid ProAdvisor? Well, I think you just have to determine whether you're going to be a paid ProAdvisor and still support people who are on desktop that aren't going to switch. And we'll get there in a moment. Will clients be able to open their older versions? If you're talking about older versions of the Plus subscription, the answer is generally not. So let me go down here to the next question. Well, I am sure suddenly having problems because now I can't even advance my. Jessica, let's go ahead and change screens, please. All right. So we want to know how this will impact your ProAdvisor practice if you have actively been marketing these products. And that's directly related to what percentage of your clients are one of these desktop versions. So it says, does a subscription include those who purchased the box desktop, for example, at Staples? Well, if you've purchased it in the last 2 years, the box desktop, all it did is basically give you a direct link to installing the Plus product. And the Plus product is basically that you are on a subscription, you have to renew your subscription every year. So it doesn't mean that it's the same old legacy version where it would last forever. And my QuickBooks Desktop clients do not want to go to QBO, and it is clear that is what Intuit is trying to force everyone to do. This was a huge price change, and it really feels like Intuit has forgotten or doesn't care about their clients or ProAdvisors. The monthly cost for every little thing is making it harder for smaller clients. Even though they have 2 to 20 million, this adds up. Not to mention it takes so much longer for QBO than desktop. It's a huge impact on our practice. I specialize in e-commerce, and Pro was all they needed. Several are talking about going back to Excel and crying out loud. My clients mostly are on Desktop Pro 21, which are renewing in 2024, so they'll move to a Plus subscription. But what sort of guarantee do they have that Intuit will not continue past 7/31 of 25? And I can't say that we have any kind of a guarantee. They only spoke about renewals after 2024. And for clients who are small business with no payroll, it is making them have software that is a good program for them that becomes unusable. And so let's go ahead and change to the next slide if we can. So we want to know essentially what you or your clients are thinking in the way of migration. Do you have clients that are thinking they want to migrate to Enterprise? Do you think they want to migrate to QuickBooks Online, or are they looking at non-Intuit alternatives? So type in your comments about that. Or if you want to ask a question online, raise your hand. Most of my clients are now on QBO. However, I still have several on desktop that are either monthly or annually maintained. The bank rules are very effective doing the accounting, and it's accurate. And when migrating to QBO, the bank rules do not come over in the migration. They're supposed to now. In the most recent conversion tool, supposed to do bank rules. My clients are looking for non-Intuit products. They're angry and they're are making a brunt, and I take the brunt of their decisions when I actually have no voice. And my personal feeling is that Intuit has gotten too big for their britches. I actively investigating other products such as Xero and Zoho. My clients are looking for non-Intuit alternatives, and desktop clients are going to upgrade their subscriptions before July. If clients do not use online or payroll on their desktop, they will continue to use older versions. And my clients are mostly desktop or Premier. I wouldn't mind switching to QBO if the application were anywhere near the quality. QBO is very hard to navigate. And with regard to that, I'll say if you do use the QBO app, you can make it more closely resemble actually QuickBooks Online Desktop. And I'm talking about the QBO app for desktop can make QBO look more closely like QuickBooks Desktop. I have several looking at non-Intuit products, including Salesforce, Odoo, OODU. I'm not sure whether it's pronounced Odoo or Odoo, but anyway, and some others. I've even had some go to NetSuite, which isn't cheaper, but they were angry. And I came on later. So how do I respond to Murph's questions? You can type in questions, or if you want to ask a question, raise your hand. Our moderator will recognize you and let me know that she's going to put you online directly on mic so you can ask your question online. QB Enterprise or non-Intuit product alternatives only, no online QB desired. So, Cheska, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to change to the next slide.
Okay, I think we do have someone who wants to talk.
Okay, let's go ahead and switch to the next slide if you would, though, before that.
Okay, sure.
All right. And so you want to tell me who
Yeah.
you're
So
recognizing?
we have Alicia, and I'm gonna go allow her to talk for a second.
Okay, that's fine. Alicia, are you there? Hello, Alicia?
Yeah, it looks like she's muted.
You're muted at your end. You're going to have to unmute down where the little microphone symbol is on the bottom left. Of the Zoom platform, bottom left, where it says mute or unmute. We can't unmute you if you're muted down there. Okay, I'm gonna move on. I just want to mention the fact that you know, we talked about potentially migrating, and here's a little slide that I prepared for how people can migrate potentially if they are ready to migrate. And of course, QuickBooks Pro and Premier can migrate to Enterprise. They can migrate to any of the various forms of QuickBooks Online, everything from Simple Start to Initial Essentials, which might be appropriate for Plus users and Pro Plus users, and QuickBooks Online Plus and Online Advanced for Premier Plus users. And then Pro Plus users might find that Sage 50, Patriot, or FreshBooks might work for them. And Premier Plus users might find that Accounting Suite, Zoho Books with Zoho Inventory, and Xero with an inventory app might work for them. So we just wanted to make you aware that there are solutions, and you should consider all of them when working with your clients, both Intuit and non-Intuit solutions. And we'll have more opportunity about this, because if you would like to have a webinar that's based on all of these alternatives, we're going to ask you to throw into the comment section, yes, I'd like to see a webinar on potential migration alternatives. And so let's go ahead and move on, because I'm not sure exactly where we are time-wise, but I want to at least have opportunity to talk about the awards. So Cheska, let's go ahead and advance slides, if you would. What slide are you on now? Because, okay, there we are. We're finally there. All right. So I want to talk about recent changes to the awards. I want to talk about in regards to the fact that we now have the 3 distinct levels: the domestic awards, which are U.S. and U.S. territories only, with the exception that international people who do also have U.S. certifications can elect to participate in the domestic awards rather than the international awards. We began the Up and Comer Awards last year to recognize up to 25 people who haven't been pro-advisors that long, but who are showing great potential. It's a real unique measurement process that we go through. It's the same process we used to go through to recognize the up-and-comer category. It's just we separated them out so we could have more awards in both groups. And the same with international. Now that we have segregated out our international pro-advisors in an attempt to recognize more of them, we are going to recognize up to 50 international pro-advisors for 2024. And of that number, we are recognizing pro-advisors in both the Eastern and Western hemispheres. And we're using the same kinds of criteria that we used in the past to recognize the 20 internationals that were part of the top 100. Now, by creating the international program, it also means that we added essentially 20 more domestics, because those positions are no longer occupied by the internationals. Cheska, go ahead and advance one more slide, if you would, please. And so this slide essentially illustrates the mechanism that we're using this year, which is, you know, we have a new nomination form, and if you're nominating someone else, you go through a process and they get notified by email. But if you are nominating yourself, the moment you tell us that at the very start of the nomination form, you're actually taken directly to the new application form. Previously, you waited as long as 2 months before you could ever start filling out the application. And we wanted to give people a longer period of time and that they could begin the moment that they nominated themselves. You go through minimum qualifications, and as a part of that, we determine whether you're an international participant or a domestic participant, and also whether you're an up-and-coming participant. And their international, as I said, is assessed on the availability of certifications, training, and other criteria related to Western or Eastern hemispheres. And from that, we will determine the award participants and the International ProAdvisor of the Year. And then similarly, over under domestics, we'll continue to recognize a top 100 made up from the various categories and the categorical award winners, as well as the ProAdvisor of the Year. And then we will continue to recognize up to 25 up-and-comers and the up-and-coming ProAdvisor of the year. And so all in all, we potentially are going to recognize 175 ProAdvisors. We believe that there is a justification for the separate international program because of the large growth in international ProAdvisors. But at the same time, we want to maintain the consistency and quality of the ProAdvisors we recognize, especially in the domestic program. And so it essentially remains unchanged, although over the last 2 years, there's been 25 additional spots added back in for domestic recognition. And so let me ask Jessica to go ahead and move to the next slide, if you would. And I think I've pretty well already covered this, so let's move on to the next slide. And the thing that I want to mention is that next week, specifically on Tuesday, my article that I write every Tuesday about the ProAdvisor Awards will tell you that there have been new scoring opportunities added and that we want you to go back into your application using the information that you've gotten from the come and go process. And you'll be able to go back in and complete additional training and certifications. But for 2025, we're going to begin the process essentially within days of our announcing the 2024 awards list. So once we announce that list this spring, we will then open the 2025 process. You'll have as long as maybe 9 months in which you can come and go from your application, in which people can be nominated by third parties or you can self-nominate. And the key here is that using that come and go process, you will be able to actually add your training and certifications to your application form as soon as you earn them. I'll be keeping the application form up to date with all the various training and certification opportunities. And essentially, you'll be able to add your qualifications over the life of the entire process as you earn them, as you earn new certifications, as you take new trainings, and as you upgrade your credentials. And we think that's going to be a tremendous opportunity for you as ProAdvisors to show your stuff, to really tell us just how your qualifications have changed. And so with that, I'm going to see here if we've got additional questions. What happened to the question about the webinar? Again, if you're interested in a webinar about migrations and alternatives, go ahead and post in the comments that you are interested in that webinar. Yes, I'd like to see a webinar on alternatives, especially for smaller clients. I'd like to hear about migration alternatives. Someone recommending a webinar on exporting their data. Says the application takes longer than the certifications. Yeah, that might be. So again, we would hope that in the future, you'd just be able to go in and add your certifications as you earn them. Yes to Intuit, not alternatives to products other than Intuit. You said post in the comments. I meant the chat. Yes, and we'll capture it also out of the Q&A. And so, Cheska, if you would go ahead and advance the last slide. And folks, what I can say is QB Talks will be continuing for 2024. Alicia Pollock will be heading up most of those. There might be one or two that I deal with over the course of the year. And there could be some other participants, but for the most part, Alicia will be hosting QB Talks, and we hope that you will continue to participate. We've had a good number of people today, and I appreciate all of you taking the time to give us your thoughts. We'll be kind of compiling the various comments and questions and commentary that you've given us, and we'll kind of collectively let you know what we learned from that in a future article. So with that said, I'm going to turn it back to Cheska and let her sign us off. Unless, Gary, you have anything you want to say?
Nothing here other than thanks for everybody's participation. A lot of good feedback and a lot of just back and forth conversation. It's always good to see. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We had a really good session today. That was pretty amazing to see everybody on with us. All right. Well,
And
you
I
guys,
do have to, once again, sorry, folks, I have to apologize for the technical glitches that I have. And miraculously, my second screen has now appeared.
you know, technology, it's great. All right. Well, actually, right before we close this webinar out, you guys remember that we do have 2 other webinars for you this month. You guys can go check that out over on our educational webinars page right on the Insightful Accountant website. And we will see you again for next month's QB Talks. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.